Good afternoon, fellow classmates and distinguished lecturer, Ms. Sophia Edwards. My topic today is a controversial issue, but it's not meant to degrade or pass judgment on anyone, but merely to share my perspective on this issue. Prostitutes are people too. But for the purpose of this discussion, I would like to focus on female prostitutes. My general purpose really is to inform you and give you another perspective on the life of a prostitute. Why a prostitute should have a right to a comfortable life, you may ask. But there are many circumstances that brought them to that point. Let's look at a typical day, a typical weekend in Trinidad. Um, you drive down Murray Street, the famous Murray Street that connects to Arapita Avenue, and all kind of creating thoughts may go through your mind. Maybe you may make insulting remarks about the girls that you see trading their body. And from time to time, you may see men doing the same, which is that they're selling their body for money. For anyone who willing to pay for it. That means men too. Yes, men do pay for man-to-man sex. It's the reality of today. But that's another topic all by itself. But there are circumstances that brought these girls to this position. Prostitution may be the last resort for many of these girls. It can also be the only choice available for survival. Or it could be forced on them. You ever thought about that? Do you think prostitutes deserve a good life? Do you have a clear idea how to live and what they do with their earnings? What prostitution do to a person's self-esteem? Well, let me inform you. They suffer feelings of worthlessness, excessive guilt, even recurrent thoughts of suicide. The purpose prostitution in most cases are the last resort for many of these girls. I was doing research on sex trade in Trinidad and I came across a girl named Alex. Now her story was lengthy. She went on to say that she was raped at age 14 and forced onto the street to support herself. And she worked in the industry for 24 years. But during that period, she met this man from Trinidad who offered her to come to Trinidad. She and three other girls. And they did not come to Trinidad via plane. They were actually brought here across the Gulf of Paria in a pirogue, 12 midnight. Now, before they board the pirogue, they were told that they couldn't bring a handbag, and of course, their passport was seized at that point in time. And they were brainwashed to think that if they go to the authorities, they would be jailed. Prostitution can be the only choice available to someone because of economic climate of the country, which I just explained. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they choose to leave Venezuela. In a story written in a newsday, sex tourism drives illicit trade, expert says. A story by Susan Shepard, August 2007. She states that it is estimated in Latin America and the Caribbean approximately 100,000 women and children are exploited annually for sexual purposes. According to a report by the U.S. Agency for International Development, this country is among several in the region at the center of growing sex tourism industry. But there are other circumstances that may be very hurtful to hear, but is actually the reality of today. Poor families with little resources available sell their children into prostitution. As young as 10 to 12 young age girls are sold into prostitution to support their family. And the report went on to say that some of these families have drug habits, which they also have to depend on their children to support their drug habit. This research was done in Thailand. Prostitution can also be forced on them by circumstances, for example, exploitation or sex trade. Trinidad and Tobago is no stranger to exploitation of women. But let us look at an article written in the Express by Anna Ramdas, May 2011. Independent Senator Dr. Ralph Balgobin was speaking in his contribution to trafficking in person's bill at the Senate, sitting told the government that he got information where he was told, and in his words stated that these girls can be rented for $2,000, but you can actually buy them for $20,000. Imagine that is happening in this country. But the end result is not so much those circumstances that brought them to the situation, but it's what happened to them physically, mentally. But physically, they suffer numerous different types of sexual transmitted diseases. Often, when a prostitute suggests using a condom, I was told, the men offer them less money. So there's a greater demand for unprotected sex. Can you imagine in this age? The global AIDS epidemic is largely part due to men soliciting services from these women who are HIV positive. And they also pass it on. The end result is that they pass it on to their mate, their other partner. So in conclusion, not every woman that sells their body for money do it because they love it. There are many reasons why someone become a prostitute. Okay, I have to look at this from a personal perspective. I'm a father of two young girls. It will burn my heart to know that they are adopted and forced into prostitution. So I don't want to be one of those people who pass judgment on these girls because I don't know the circumstances that brought them to that point. So that's why I choose this topic, because I want to be able to share my point of view and see what I can do to alleviate these girls of their circumstances. So let us look beyond the surface and examine the circumstances that lead someone to prostitution. It's only human that the prostitute should have the right to a life, to a good life. I repeat, it's only human that the prostitute should have the right to live a good life. I thank you very much for your time and I hope I've enlightened you.